Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my review of The Testament by John Grisham. This is another legal thriller by John Grisham. This is my 14th John Grisham book that I've read, and he has one of the best batting averages of any author I've ever read. And he is quickly rising up the ranks of my favorite authors list. And so I've read just under about a third of all of his novels, and oh man, I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of his books because he's such a good author. And so this book is a legal thriller like most of his books are, but it's in a different way than normal. If I had to describe this book as a TV shows and movies, it is half of it is Succession from HBO, and the other half is Secret Life of Walter Mitty. The basic premise of this book is that there is this billionaire who has been married and divorced a bunch of times, and he has a bunch of children, and he hates everyone. He hates his wives, his ex-wives, he hates his children, grandchildren, he hates everyone. And so when he dies, he leaves everything he owns to this woman who it's shocking. What connection does she have to him? How is she connected? And so basically the lawyer, but who is this lawyer? To figure out who is this woman, and they have to find her and get her to get all $11 billion that she has been bequeathed by this man. And so it's got that element, which is succession. It's everyone wants the money that this rich billionaire leaves behind, and there's all these legal battles of the children trying to fight it, and some of these themes are present in Sycamore Row, but I think that they're actually a little bit stronger here. And what makes this work so well is that then the main character is a lawyer. His name's Nate, and he's a down-on-his-luck guy. And his group, his firm, has figured out where this woman is. She's in the middle of Brazil. She is in these remote tribes that have never seen white people before. She's down there as a missionary and as a doctor ministering to these tribes. And so she has no connection to the outside world, no way to find out about the death of this man that left her all this money. And so our main character, Nate, has to travel down to Brazil and try to find her. The problem is, he doesn't know where, all he knows is she's somewhere in Brazil. That's it. All he knows is that she's a missionary to tribes in Brazil. But there's a ton of tribes. They're all spread out. There's a huge area of Brazil he has to look for her. He has no idea. So he has to hire a private plane, and he has to hire boats, and he has to hire guides to walk him places, and he has to go through all these treacherous rivers that have these killer fish, and he has to go through this area with deadly snakes, and he has to go through these mosquitoes which carry malaria. And so there's this adventure element of the book where this guy who is never been outside of the US or Europe, all of a sudden has to go on this adventure looking for this woman to try to let her know what happened and get her to sign the legal documents. And so that's where the Secret Life of Walter Mitty kind of comes in, where he goes on this ridiculous journey to try to find the photographer in that movie, because the photographer left behind one square of footage that they need. And this book's kind of like that, where he has to go through on this ridiculous adventure to try to find this woman. And so what I just described, Succession meets Secret Life of Walter Mitty, I was sold. That was an entertaining part of the book anyway. It was entertaining anyway. However, the book took on another layer that just was terrific partway through. When you meet the woman, of course, you knew that she was a missionary, but when you meet the character, she is one of the best characters that John Grisham has ever written. It is so rare to see someone who writes just political thrillers and is writes this type of story, to write such a deeply religious character and to get that religion and the ideas behind it correctly, as good as well as John Grisham does. I don't know if he's a Christian or if he, grew up Christian or what. I don't know whether he's an atheist. I don't know what his beliefs are. But I know the way that he writes characters. And usually he has a very distinct way of writing them. And the way he wrote this woman is very different than he's ever written a Christian character before. Really different than any other writer writing what I'll call secular novels. Like Karen Kingsbury, or a Christian writer who's writing specifically Christian characters, that's a whole separate issue. I'm talking about just general novels when a Christian character shows up. And he absolutely gets right the tenets of Christianity and understands the true heart of Christianity and understands what a missionary goes through. And he understands like the whys behind Christianity, not just the what, not just the basic beliefs, but why you have those beliefs, not just the actions that Christians need to take, but why they need to take those actions. And it is such a good exploration of missionaries and missions and Christianity and her character, and I instantly loved her character. I thought she was great, and I just wanted to read more of her character. I was so fascinated by her, and I thought that, it was just so refreshing. We do not see this often in literature. So I was so thankful and so excited. And so when you add on, which was already a very interesting and fun, complex legal thriller that John Grisham writes anyway, you add on this layer of the way he writes Christianity here was just genius. And he writes a really compelling ending because you don't know how the book's going to end. You can guess, but you really don't know because there's so many things that have to happen. Like if you want the quote-unquote happy ending for the characters, all these things have to line up in a row, and you just don't know if that's going to happen or not. And I will not spoil whether it happens or not because the ending is genius. The ending is absolutely genius. I didn't see it coming. I read it, and I was like, are you going there? You really going there? I thought that the ending here was absolutely delightful. I thought that Grisham just nailed the book. I mean, just across the board. There were a few chapters kind of in the middle where he's traveling to the tribe, where the adventure, where they're on the seas and stuff. And he could have cut those out a little bit, focus more of when he was actually there. And if I was making a movie, that's what I would do. If I had to cut anywhere, I would cut there, and maybe a few parts of the legal stuff towards the end. But still, despite that, it's still an amazing book. And I don't know for sure because I haven't finished the rest of the books on my shelves yet, but I'm pretty sure this is going to take Book of the Month for me because it's just that good. So if you've read John Grisham's The Testament, and by the way, that is such a clever title because there's something at the beginning of the book that I was like, oh, that's why they call it The Testament. And there's some in the middle. I'm like, ooh, he's making a double reference. And then at the end, there's something else. And I was like, it's a triple title. It's a triple title. I thought that was genius. Absolutely genius. So I give this a 9.5 out of 10. Terrific, amazing, probably book of the month. If you've read it, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. If you have other John Grisham books that you've read, let me know about that as well. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.